The Indiana Pacers force Game 7 as we're headed back to OKC for Game 7 in the NBA Finals. But the question that I have for you guys is, has this finals been disappointing to you? Because a lot of people thought it would be coming into the series. We're going to talk a little bit about that and what needs to happen in Game 7 for the Pacers and for the OKC Thunder. Then we're going to talk about Sham's update on the Kevin Durant trade and why it's turning into a game of chicken and the impact that that's having on everything leading into this offseason. We're going to get into all that plus more right after this.
Welcome to the number one place for your daily basketball news and analysis, NBA Central.
What's going on, basketball fans? Welcome to another episode of NBA Central, your number one spot for everything basketball related. My name is Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at NBA Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content today, y'all. And Game 7. We're getting to Game 7. The Indiana Pacers took care of business yesterday, responding after being down to an early lead, playing that game. They just executed well down the stretch of that game. They just were the better team on the court, and that shouldn't be a surprise to anybody, especially when the Pacers are on their home court. They're a team that just is the closest thing to almost unbeatable that you see. They don't lose a lot of games at home. Neither do the OKC Thunder, for that matter, but the Pacers just came in with a game plan and execution, and despite Tyrese Haliburton having this calf injury that, doctors told him would be a multi-week injury, but he's playing through it to tough it out because of the finals and what this means. He scored 14 points, 5 assists, 1 rebound. It's not typically what we're used to seeing from Tyrese Haliburton in this game, but a lot of people are making a lot about Shai and how disappointing that he was in that game and questioning, did he run out of gas? We had the host of Locked On Thunder basically said that the Thunder are playing with their food. I don't know where they got that at because the Pacers have been so good in this series overall in the way that they've executed that, you look at Chet, only 4 points from Chet. He's been, a bit of a question mark throughout a lot of this series as well. Shai with 21 points, which was a very pedestrian effort for what we're used to seeing from Shai. In that one, Jalen Williams only with 16 points. And so it just led to a situation where the Pacers just executed very well. The Pacers, who were led in scoring by Obi Toppin off the bench with 20 points. There was no huge jump out the stat sheet a score last night for the Pacers, but they were able to still win the game, and that's what it took. They had 10 turnovers. They limited the turnovers considerably. The Thunder themselves had 21 turnovers. They only shoot 26% from three-point range, whereas the Pacers shoot not a great, but they shoot 35%, 41% from the field. Both teams shoot 41% for that matter from the field, and this now shapes up to be an exciting Game 7 that are there. And Tyrese Haliburton has already basically said he will be playing in Game 7 when it comes down to it. When he was asked about his calf, he says, it's okay. I got a couple of days now to take care of it and get right and be ready. We got one game, all the cards on the table. It's going to be a lot of fun. And this is going to be a lot of fun. And overall, this series has been a lot of fun. And I think Rick Carlisle, being the coach that he is, has really stood up. We dropped a video before the playoffs started. Before the finals started, in which it was a round table with all the guys, and we all basically said Rick Carlisle was going to be a huge X factor in this series with the way that he was able to coach, have his team prepared, and he's not disappointed with that at all, right? Even Mac Dangolt has admitted some things, not to say that he's called Rick Carlisle the better coach, but he's admitted where he felt at as a coach. After the game, he said this. First of all, credit to Indiana. I thought they obviously earned the win. They outplayed us for most of the 48 minutes, and that's the story of the game. They went out there and attacked the game. From our standpoint, it's uncharacteristic. It was disappointing, but it was a collective. It wasn't one guy. We were not where we needed to be on both ends of the floor for much of the game, and we have to be a lot better in Game 7. And the question that I have here now is, who's going to be more prepared in Game 7, right? It's on OKC Thunder's floor, which is going to, of course, give them the benefit there to be on their home court in a Game 7. But let's not act like the Indiana Pacers didn't start off the series stealing away a game on OKC's court in Game 1. So does it end how it begun, right? That's the question here. And the Pacers are a team that, if you can force it to be a half-court game, that plays into the hand of the Pacers. And that's what the Thunder really need to avoid in this game. They cannot allow this to turn into a half-court game. The Thunder are one of those teams that are the biggest team maybe ever that have really turned forcing turnovers into part of their game plan. It's not a luck thing. It's part of who they are. It's part of their identity. And if they cannot force turnovers, like last night with the Pacers only having 10 turnovers, it makes the game a lot easier for the Pacers. The Pacers who can match their pace, the Pacers who can match their depth. Now, I'm not saying that the Pacers are as good of a team as the Thunder are on paper or even in the regular season, but I think this series has really brought together the fact that it's about the balance, right? It's about the overall structure. It's about how everything plays a part into the game, the totality of the game of basketball. And that's where the Pacers have really excelled at in this series, is that, they have just played a good game for 48 minutes throughout it. They haven't gotten too far up, haven't gotten too far down. They don't let any lead get them disheartened. They come in there and they execute their game plan. And the game plan that they play varies each and every game. Rick Carlisle has made slight adjustments each game, and some of those have been more successful than others, but he's a coach that's always tinkering, and that's something that Mike Dangholt is going to have to try to stay ahead of in Game 7. And now it turns into a one-game series. That's what it is. It's a one-game series, and as you know, any team can win one game. And because now that you're here, it matters a lot how this all shakes out. But let me know your guys' predictions down below. Who do you have winning Game 7, winning the NBA Finals this year? And I think overall, the thing that I want to talk about too here before we get off the finals is that a lot of people doubted this finals coming into this, right? And one of the topics we talked about today over on Locked On NBA, shameless plug there, was that we talked about how if we miss, having a superstar, even though Shea is a star, but like having that player that takes over a game, that goes on a 16-point run, like things that we've seen in the last kind of finals, and I haven't missed it at all. This reminded me of like the chess matches that we saw early in my childhood in some playoff series, where every minor adjustment matters that much more. And that's really what has stood out in this series to me and to others. And I don't miss the fact that a Jokic, that a LeBron, that other player isn't in this series. We're seeing like Shea could very well turn into a star, right? Like, oh no, he's already a star, but like winning the MVP, a finals, and a finals MVP potentially in the same season is rare, right? And Shea has the chance to do that. Seeing a team like the Pacers go on the run that they've gone, if you look at every series that they've had from every moment, right? Even down to the choking moment in New York, down to the game winner with Tyrese in this series, everything that's happened in the series, playing hurt, winning a Game 6 to force a Game 7, there's a lot of stories in this one, but more importantly, it doesn't seem like manufactured stories. It's stories that really matter and stories that have played out on the court. Each team going on runs in some of these games, and the way that they've answered runs with each other, the game within the game, all that type of stuff. It's been great to see this. And I think that this is the type of finals, of course, Adam Silver is salivating over. That's really what you want to see. Two teams that have done it, that have built the right way, a mixture of trades, mixture of drafting, right? Just making smart moves. Two teams that don't pay the luxury tax, much less the second tax apron. And so a lot of what Adam Silver has wanted to push forward the league too, it's all come together in this series. So I haven't missed not having the superstar battles or anything like this. I think that this has been almost basketball at its purest form when you talk about everything from X's and O's to big performances to everything. But let me know down below how you guys feel about that. I'm going to throw that question to you guys. How do you feel about this playoff series? This final series? How have you felt about it? Have you missed having a Jokic or a LeBron or whatever in this series? Let me know that down below. But with that said, something that has been a topic on almost every show for the last 2 weeks is Kevin Durant, because new things come out every single day. And at this point, I just hope we get something soon. Shams was on the Pat McAfee show, as he is one to do, and he said this: the Suns know if they're going to trade Durant, they clearly have a price threshold they want met. I had one team tell me today it's kind of a game of chicken at this point. From the Houston Rockets to the Miami Heat to the Minnesota Timberwolves, it's literally one or two pieces away, either which way that can get a deal done. My understanding is they all are in talks with those three teams specifically. And so here's the thing. I said this when it came out. When Kevin Durant and the way that he liked the Miami Heat, the fact that the Heat were on his list, it's going to put you in a place where teams aren't going to offer a whole lot because the Miami Heat don't have a lot to offer. They don't. I had a Heat fan say, I'm tired of people talking about the Heat's draft of trade assets like they're not great. They're not. I hate to tell you that they're not great. Now, the one out in 2031 could be great because you don't know what the makeup of the roster is going to look like by then 6 years from now. But they're not these assets that you look at and you're like, especially with Pat Riley running that team and always wanting that team to stay at a certain level of competitiveness. It's not at the level of, it's not the Houston Rockets draft selects or draft picks that they can offer. It's not the San Antonio's picks that they can offer because it's out to 2031. So because of that, it does put you in this situation where, listen, why would you put your best foot forward? And so, here are a crazy offer for it. So hearing Sham say it's like a game of chicken at this point, I believe teams are going to try to wait out the Suns in the Phoenix Suns in this to see, all right, how far can we get them to go down? Are teams lowballing a little bit? Maybe. But it is what it is. Kevin Durant is a 36-year-old player who has 1 year left on his deal, who wants to sign an extension to have some long-term security. And while I do think Kevin Durant can help teams, make no mistake about it, it's not like we're talking about prime Kevin Durant here. So because of that, it puts you in a situation where now you're looking at it saying, what's going to happen here? And nobody knows. Nobody knows what's going to happen. But, I think a lot has affected this trade balance. And for what it's worth, Brian Windhorst as well says this about Kevin Durant, that Kevin Durant is attracted by the city and the fact that the president of the team is Pat Riley. That's part of what entices them there when it comes down to it. And we'll see what happens, right? He goes on to say this. Well, let's look at the teams that are on the list. I think he's got Miami on there because he's attracted to the city and Pat Riley. It's certainly not the team. So let's put that aside. Let's look at Houston and San Antonio. He would be the number one offensive option on those two teams. Now, I don't know about the best player. I don't know if that's what he's looking for at age 37, but he certainly would join those two teams and make them way more dynamic offensively. That sounds right. Kevin Durant at this point can't expect to be the number one. I don't think that he can. I don't think that that's fair. I don't think that that's realistic. But make no mistake about it, as well as with Ace Bailey and what's going on with him in the draft, a lot of this is waiting to see what happens with Kevin Durant. Where does he go? And then because what happens with teams that strike out on him, we heard, yesterday that DeMar DeRozan could be a consolation prize for teams that miss out on Kevin Durant. The Miami Heat or other teams could pivot to DeMar DeRozan, which shout out to DeMar. I mean, he's still a very productive player at being 36 years old himself. Like what DeMar does is what DeMar does. And he's one of the best in the league at what he does. Scoring in the mid-range. He's always going to put on points. He doesn't really get hurt. He's a pretty durable player, but a lot is hanging on what happens with Kevin Durant. There are a lot of chips that fall, not only in the draft, not only in trade market, but also free agency. There's a lot that goes on there that I think is left to be seen on what's going to happen here. We'll see what happens. One team did say that, for example, the Raptors, they're ready to offer either RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, or Jakob Poeltl and draft picks, which could be enticing maybe to the Phoenix Suns there. So we'll see. That comes from Brett Siegel, by the way. I like to always quote my sources because some of y'all in the comments like to talk some shit when it's something that y'all not heard. I always have I'm always pulling from a public article, and I only use stuff from fairly majorable, respectable outlets. So fuck y'all on that one. No, I'm just playing with you. That's a joke. But yeah, so we'll see what continues to happen on this one, man. But the Kevin Durant thing, I think leading into the draft is a big chip that people are waiting to see how it goes and how it falls, as well as Ace Bailey. Like the Ace Bailey thing is such a unique thing. I know I dropped a video on it yesterday, but like we were talking to Matt Moore today from the Action Network. He's the head writer over there, and he said that he could realistically see a world in which Ace Bailey falls maybe to 10 or maybe even past 10, depending on if a team trades up or not. That's crazy for a player as talented as what Ace Bailey is. So there's a lot going on that I think in the next week, well, the draft is in 5 days. In the next 5 days that we're going to see, there's a lot of even uncertainty in the top 10. What's going to happen with the Philadelphia 76ers? Do they trade back? Do they stay there? What other teams are willing to trade back? The Houston Rockets with their number 10 pick. What happens there? So between the draft and the Kevin Durant saga and the NBA Finals going down on Friday, these next few days are going to be really important around the NBA to see what happens and exactly how things shake out. But we shall see. This is one of the most exciting times. And keep in mind, free agency doesn't start that much shortly thereafter that. So there you have on that one. That's going to be exciting as well. So it's a lot going on right now. And this is about to be the part of the offseason where I already know I'm about to be working, which means I'm going to be dropping a lot of videos, which means y'all make sure y'all stay subscribed to the channel because y'all going to get a lot of information here. I'm going to try to get a video out anytime news drops. We're going to drop around here. Of course, my Bulls channel comes first. That's the breadwinner, but then I'll be over here shortly thereafter. So make sure you guys stay in tune with us for that. You can follow us at NBA Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, NBA Central Show at gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the number one spot for everything basketball related. And I'll see you guys the next time I feel like making a video, which is probably tomorrow. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.